We're having a debate in Zooty's chat. Good morning.
Rip.
Who
Oh my God,
needs
banned,
to
bro.
be obliterated?
Good morning. Why did you come here? We're just talking about you. We didn't even do anything. Yo, we were talking about your camera. What are your camera specs? Yo, because I just got my first camera.
Uh-oh.
I hope you'll be proud of me. I'm like a real content creator. I got a.
Oh shit! Is that the fucking Sony ZV-E10?
Streaming, but I don't really know how to set it up yet, so. I don't even know how to fucking function the camera, bro. I like photography, but I don't really know much about it. It is the ZV-E10.
Oh my god! Wait, show it again!
But yeah. Show it again, sorry.
What
do you use? Wow.
Oh, you're using the stock the kit lens.
And I have tripod that I can put it on too. Yeah. I got it on the Prime Day because it was on sale.
Good deal. It is my main vlogging camera.
Dude, Capicoli bed.
Except.
Good deal. It's my main vlogging camera? Oh my god, really? Cool.
Yeah, I use a Sony ZV-E10 with a 16 to 35 f4 power zoom lens.
But that's not what you use.
I also added some random. Actually, I also use the Sony. Fuck, what is this thing called?
I don't really know much about the lenses either. Like, I'm kind of.
Oh, I'm dumb as shit.
Anything, but I gotta do some research to like upgrade my game, you know. Cause, yeah, I would love to get to know more cameras.
Wait.
And stuff.
Dude, you have the
Dude,
Twitch
the
feature
so funny.
to have someone in chat come onto your stream.
Golden Kappa we've gotten in this month, though. What's up, UK government, by the way? What's up? It's kind of awesome. Do you have the Twitch feature to have someone in chat come on your stream? What is it called? I don't know if I have it set up or whatever. You trying to come on my stream? Like, you wanna just fucking call me or something?
I've been sucked into cameras. I can talk about cameras all fucking day long.
I've been sucked into cameras? Okay, look. I can talk about cameras all day. Okay, I know nothing about cameras, okay? All I know is I was recommended this one and like it's cute. That's all I know so far.
It's cute. Oh
like,
my god.
Shooting and adjustments, I don't really know. I used to take pictures of birds as a hobby while they were in flight. That's my whatever. I used to have a Fujifilm.
No way, you shot a Fuji?
Together. I have streamed together.
Do you have an X100? Any of them?
You wanna see my other camera? It's in a box.
Chat, I'm geeking. Yo, what up, Mr. Peter?
Hold.
Chompy, I pre-ordered the X100 on release. It's been 4 months, I think.
Film? It's from like 2012 or something.
What the
I don't
fuck?
know what it is actually.
Why is that shit sealed?
So we're about to do an unboxing. I was thinking about selling.
Bro's a camera nerd. Who would have guessed? Camera nerd, but never uses it. Actually, that's a lie. I have so much footage. I just never edited it together.
It's really good at doing like macro.
Whoa. Okay, I don't know what that camera is.
But not really anything else. This is my old camera. I don't know what it is. The Fine Pix or whatever. But I don't know. I don't even know if this is good or not, but I like it for something.
Okay, I indicate what the camera is, but it looks cool.
Like I said, I don't really know shit about cameras, but it was nice. It's nice.
Hold up. Wanna call?
It's nice for very specific things, and it's really fucking old. So that's why I was thinking about selling it, low-key.
I just unplugged my headphones.
Anyone know what this is?
What the fuck is that?
Anyone know what this is? No, I'm heading you guys though. Oh. Asian man, thanks for the 5 bits too. Zeno, thank you for the raid. Happy 4 peeps. What's up? Wanna call? Yeah, sure.
Okay. Chat, it is time.
Who's this Btmc guy?
Hold on, I'm clearing DMs. Good morning!
Hello?
Hold on, I'm clearing
Ed,
DMs.
it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been like 15 years. I hope life has been good.
Life has been
Oh,
good.
let me grab
You
my
guys doing
camera.
Okay, I'm really bad at the streaming stuff. He just walked away. Come back.
Zooty, I can't believe it. We're fucking twinning.
Okay.
We're
yeah,
actually
tell
twinning.
Me, tell me the deets.
Okay. So, the camera that you got... Okay, what are you trying to do with your camera? That's the first question.
I want to get more into vlog stuff and hypothetically to use it for the stream. I just want like higher quality stuff and like I don't want to do mobile anymore. And also for like, you know, in Karyu's videos, he has kind of these cinematic shots in between and stuff. I kind of want to do stuff like that too, maybe experiment.
Okay. All right. Well, the camera that you picked up is perfect. All right.
Yes.
So I'll save you the mumbo jumbo, but let's just say that this camera has a sensor that will last you like 10 years. Okay? It is phenomenal. And the biggest selling point is that it is small, which means that it's easy to bring around. This is the most compact form factor you can have in terms of just like the body itself for such a high quality sensor, right? It is actually incredible. So the reason why I personally picked it up is because I found that because I also wanted to do vlogging shit, right? But the biggest problem I had was that I got the best camera at the time, but it was so big and heavy that I literally couldn't do this for like more than 30 seconds because my arm would start dying. I tried coping and tried to do like push-ups and shit to like to cope.
Stop,
and it just didn't work. The weight was insane. The like it was. Hold on, let me show you it.
No, you need full area for real. Okay, he just fucking left. Like, bro just ran away from me. My stream now. Holy
It's
shit.
bad. Okay, it's bad. There's no way that you're throwing this into your backpack and vlogging at TwitchCon. All right.
That mic is crazy too.
Yeah,
God.
this is the Sony A7S III with a Connor Blue cage with a Rode Video Mic. Wait, I forgot. Rode Video Mic Pro? No, Rode. Fuck, I forgot. Anyways, I wanted the best quality shit, and it turns out the best quality shit is heavy as fuck and big as fuck. I hated it. All right. Mm-hmm. So, the best thing about this camera is the fact that the audio quality is actually okay. It is like tolerable, and because of that, you can literally just bring this, nothing else, and you're gold. My idea behind this was to get rid of everything. No tripod, no external microphone, nothing, right? And this body itself can basically do it all right? So I even added like a couple mods onto it. There's like this hook over here and here, so that when I set it on my desk, it's actually level, right? So I can set it down on the ground somewhere, and I can bend down to it to like talk to the camera or some shit. I also have hold up.
Bro's such a nerd.
So the idea behind this thing is that it also doubles as like a slight tripod, because I can add a ring that I'm just wearing normally, add it to the hook, and it'll slightly like angle it upwards if I like use the ring to upstand it like that, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, this thing comes with something called dynamic active stabilization. Basically, the sensor is so fucking big and can record in such high resolution that it's able to record at 4K or even 1080 with a little bit of buffer. So if whatever lens you put onto it, it can actually zoom in a little bit farther as well. So you're incentivized to use the widest lens that you can possibly get. The kit lens that you have is okay. It's just really hard to vlog like this because when you're doing this type of angle, you want to capture your own face and the environment behind you, right? But when you have a the stock lens, the thing is it's so punched into your face, it's hard to see anything else. So you want to get a lens that's much wider. That's why the smaller the number is, the wider it is, and it's like an exponential thing. So I think yours is 28 millimeters at its widest. Is that correct? Are you able to look at the
0.20? Oh, it says here.
It should say it like on the lens itself, like right
Yeah,
here.
yeah. It says 0.25 and 0.82. Or am I crazy?
0.25 to 0.82. It should be like the two numbers before the G. So this says, right there, fuck. It says like 16, something 16 to 35 G.
Oh.
Do you see it? That sort of number?
It says 16 to 50 OSS.
16 to 50?
Osu.
Wait, is that the kit lens that came with the camera, or is that a different one?
Yeah, I bought it as the bundle.
That was a bundle? Wait, can you send me the link? Because I have a feeling that's an APS. That.
Alright, hold up.
Yeah, send me the link. I have a feeling that's a crop sensor lens.
Your camera is APS-C, it's not full frame. This is my...
If Xooty has the ZV-E10, that's a full frame camera.
I have ZV-E10. It's different. Bro's gone. I actually just killed him with that information.
Take everything that I just said.
Hey, what's up, stream?
It doesn't. No.
I killed Btmc. What's up, guys? All right, guys. Today, so we're gonna be talking about cameras. So today, I have the Sony Alpha ZV-E10 with me. All right. So I think it's this one instead of.
Fuck.
Everything just doesn't apply because my camera's different.
Okay, never mind. All right, your camera is completely different. All right. I know nothing about the ZV-E10. Goodbye.
All right. Just me, myself, and I. Just me, myself, and I now. Okay.
Chat, what the fuck is the
Not knowing anything about
ZV-E10?
cameras, like what's the difference? This is 0 at the end. But cool. I learned. What did we learn today?
What the fuck?
We learned. Ed has an attachment.
I've already
on
reviewed the
his-
sensor and interface of this camera several times in this channel when I covered the A6400, the A6600, and so on, and I refuse to review those elements again. So instead, we're going to do something a little bit different. Let's get undone. Gerald Undone.
Watch your heart rate rise to 110. Hold
What's
up.
happening, everybody? I'm Gerald Undone, and today I'm here to speak an excessive amount of camera jargon and chew bubblegum. Unfortunately, it seems I'm all out of bubblegum. Okay, disclosure time. Sony lent me this camera and a couple of lenses to make this review. I don't get to keep it, no money changed hands, and Sony does not get any input on this video's production or get to preview before it's posted. This video does have a sponsor though, and that's Storyblocks. And also if you hear beeping or grinding sounds outside, that's because the construction that I've been complaining about for
This
a
came
couple
out 2
months,
years
maybe
ago.
6 months
Holy
now,
shit.
still going on, but I think they're almost done because they're laying the sod. So
Harris
that's gotta
Heller
be
made
one
a of the
couple of
videos on the
steps, right?
ZV-E10
Anyway,
as well?
This is the ZV-E10. I'll be saying Z a lot because I'm Canadian, but to be honest, I kind of hate the name of this camera. I understand the ZV part because it appears to have similar intentions to the ZV-1, but the hardware is mostly from the A6000 series, so I'm not sure what the E10 is all about, but it just feels like a mouthful
Is
and
he using the
unrelated to anything
A6000
before.
sensor?
Unless this is the start of a new line of cameras, but it's weird that they would start that new line with an old sensor and interface. Because this is essentially a Sony ZV-1 with an APS-C sensor, an interchangeable lens, a headphone jack, the new digital audio multi-interface shoe, and a bigger battery, but without the built-in ND filter. There, review done. Any questions? I think this video will likely have two audiences. People who watch my channel a lot and already know the story behind the ZV-1 and Sony's previous APS-C cameras, but just want a quick rundown on what's new here. and then new customers potentially shopping for their first real camera. I think it's that second group that Sony's really targeting with this camera, and I'm going to do a whole vlogging segment in this video for that beginner audience a little later on. But first, let me just talk nerdy to my regular viewers real quick. So this thing has pretty much identical functionality to the ZV-1. The same flip screen, the same beginner novelty buttons for depth of field and product showcase autofocus, face priority exposure, and soft skin effect. The same USB streaming capabilities, the active electronic stabilization, and the built-in
Chats, can you guys understand any of this?
included windscreen. Just like the ZV-1,
Am I just dumb?
A zoom lever, and a full range of picture profiles, excluding S-Cinetone, of course, which is on neither of those cameras.
Flameboy can understand. Ashley can understand. No way.
The menu system. The autofocus is very similar as well, except that the ZV-E10 has the updated speed and sensitivity controls that allow up to 7 steps and 5 steps of adjustment respectively for more refined autofocus responsiveness. It still has the same limitations and quirks when it comes to white balance and HDMI output. I recommend you watch my ZV-1 video if you want more detail about that, but basically 4K 30 has no face or eye detection when an HDMI cable is connected unless you record externally exclusively, and then the screen blacks out when you do this. But just like with the ZV-1, this issue was fixed for 4K 24, just not for 4K 30. It also inherits the quirk from the other APS-C cameras where 4K 30 has a slight crop when compared to 4K 24, but unlike the ZV-1, this new camera does not crop the 4K 24 when compared to the 1080p, so it's easier to get a wider field of view on this camera than it is on the ZV-1, unless you shoot 1080p 120, which does have an added crop. It still has the same stabilization modes where standard is optical stabilization, if your lens supports it, and then active adds electronic stabilization, which also adds a substantial crop. But because this is an interchangeable lens camera, you can put on a wider lens like the 10 to 18, which has optical stabilization, but with that lens, even if you turn on active mode and shoot in 4K, you'll still have a respectable width for vlogging. This is the biggest advantage I would say this camera has over the ZV-1. However, because it's one of Sony's APS-C cameras, it also inherits that sensor's weaknesses. This is not a new sensor. This is the same sensor Sony's been using in their 6000 series lineup for years. This means it's really starting to show its age when it comes to image quality. It's fine, but nothing amazing compared to recent releases. It also has that famously bad rolling shutter. I thought I said I wasn't going to review this sensor again. It's still 24 megapixels and still has an ISO range of 100 to 32,000, which definitely beats the low light performance on the ZV-1, but it's not quite as good as the recent A7C, which is the closest full-frame cousin to this camera. But where the A7C had a lackluster viewfinder, the ZV-E10 removed the viewfinder completely. And that viewfinder is really the only major factor that prevents this camera from rendering every other A6000 series camera obsolete, but more on that later. It's using the same FW50 battery that you'll find on the A6400 or A6100, but it's getting slightly better performance out of it, maybe 5 to 10% better, with an average record time of about 80 to 90 minutes. The only cameras that beat this one are the ones that use the FZ100 battery like the A6600 or the full-frame models. There's no record limits and overheating was not a concern provided you switch the power off temp to high in the
This is more than like $1,000 bucks.
The controls and layout
swear.
are more similar to the ZV-1 than other A6000 series cameras. Big record button on top,
thank
no
the
control
Lord.
dial,
Okay.
fewer function buttons,
That's all
and
right.
a zoom rocker. It has a major advantage over the ZV-1 though due to its size. The compartment
700
that
is okay.
holds the battery and the single SD card slot is far enough away from the quarter 20 mount on the bottom that tripod plates don't interfere with changing batteries or cards, which was my biggest annoyance on the ZV-1. The grip is okay, it definitely feels like a small, somewhat cramped camera in the hands, but impressively they managed to make it noticeably smaller than the other cameras in the A6000 lineup, while keeping a full suite of ports. USB-C, which works for
the used market
streaming,
is very
data
cool.
transfer, charging,
Just go
and extending
used.
battery life. Micro HDMI, microphone in, and headphone out. And the mic port has its own door, which does well not to interfere too badly visually with the flip-out screen. All while being 60 grams lighter and 15 millimeters thinner than the A6400. Now, despite all those refinements, it's clear what this camera's purpose is. It's for vlogging and beginners. The removal of the viewfinder and the addition of so many automatic features and conveniences, and especially the price, I think clearly show the target market for this camera. Because impressively, this camera only costs $699 for the body and $799 with the 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens. For comparison, that's only
That's
$50
24
more than the
millimeters, full frame
ZV-1
equivalent.
for this whole lens kit, and $200 less than the A6400 if you compare bodies only. We'll talk value considerations in a minute. First, let's use this camera as it was intended and take it out for a little vlog test. And grip that lets you start and stop recording and zoom right from the handle. All right, let's go. Okay, so right now I'm walking through a wooded area that constantly has the sun sort of jumping through, so it should be a good test for both auto exposure and auto
This
white
does
balance. I
not
it set
have stabilization on.
Shutter priority with face priority. So the aperture and ISO are allowed to change, but the shutter speed is not. I have zebras turned on and I can see that they're sort of all over the place. So this sensor doesn't have excellent dynamic range in video, but I have the picture profile set to standard, which is obviously worse for dynamic range. It's picture profile off, but we can try with S-Log later on. It's 4K 24p. Stabilization is just set to standard, so we're using just the lens stabilization. This is the 16-50 OSS lens, which wide open go to 3.5 because we're shooting at 16 mil. Right now it's showing it as f5.6, f6.3 as we move through, and then when we're in a dark area it goes to f3.5 and the ISO jumps up to 200. Base ISO with the standard color is ISO 100. The white balance is also set to auto, so we'll see how it changes when I walk through here. And we're using the built-in microphone on the top, and I have the windscreen on top. And it is a little bit windy, rustling through leaves, and there's some, you know, dogs barking off in the distance, and there's different sounds, so we can see how well that isolates my voice. I'm using eye autofocus, and I have the default speed and sensitivity value set, and soft skin right now is off, but we can turn that on for a quick test. Let's do that now. There, so I was able to turn on soft skin without stopping recording, and I have it set to the medium setting, so see what that does. One thing I probably complained about already is the rolling shutter. I don't know how much it's going to have an effect on this whole vlogging
It's so
experience
bad.
here. Let me just sort of
It is so bad.
move the
Holy
camera around.
fuck.
Yeah, it's really jello-y in the display. I can even see.
Well, it's not
But
bad.
stabilization, I mean, you know, you can make your own opinion on it. I'll go ahead and turn
But
on active stabilization now so we
it
can
is-
see
it
how
is
that
very-
looks. But
It
we're
is
gonna crop
very
a bit.
typical.
I'm holding the
It's very
camera
typical. Let's just say
at
that.
a somewhat uncomfortable distance, and I have really long arms. I can hold it all the way out here, but you wouldn't be able to do that for very long. That hurts. So I have with just a little bit of a bend in the elbow here. This is at standard. Let's drop into active stabilization now. You cannot switch to active stabilization while recording. You have to stop recording. And you can see this is now my arm fully extended in a painful way. And this is way too tight. But I'll try to do this and I'll hold it out, and you can tell me if the stabilization seems any better. And while we're doing that, I will walk into this open field area so we can see how the exposure and white balance adjusts for me. It should get noisier out here too. All right, here we go. So I am now in direct sunlight. So we're at f9, ISO 100. That's not too bad. This is very uncomfortable on the arm though. And then I'll walk back into this sort of wooded area. You can take a look at the white balance and see how the stabilization is. So this will be dual. This is the lens and the body working together right now. All right, let's change a couple things. Let's switch it to S-Log and then back to standard stabilization and see how the dynamic range works for that.
No one's gonna use
now we're
S-Log
back
on
to
this.
standard stabilization, just f20. So for S-Log on this camera. All right, I'm now stepping out into direct sunlight. Let's work with that aperture. 16-50 is definitely at f4, ISO 500. Royalty free for both personal and commercial. Thoughts after reviewing that footage. First off, that rolling shutter is undeniably noticeable and terrible. I'm not a huge fan of the soft skin effect, but it definitely did
Stevie,
something
hello.
and seems
Ender
effective
Lolly
if
also,
needed.
thank you.
The dynamic range in standard is not very impressive, but it does improve when you switch to S-Log. However, when I added a heavy ND and used S-Log, the image became very mushy and soft. This is likely because the camera's shutter priority aimed for a neutral exposure of S-Log, when you definitely want to overexpose 1 to 2 stops to beat the noise floor on a sensor like this. So I'd only use S-Log if I was going full manual. I also think the autofocus was failing a bit during S-Log, which this sensor has had problems with in the past as well. The auto exposure features worked well enough for a vlog in my opinion though. The white balance and exposure were never jarring and the transitions were pretty smooth. I didn't notice a huge improvement switching to active stabilization though, so I'd probably stick with standard, which is good because the crop with active was way too intense when using the 16 to 50mm lens. But unfortunately, that rolling shutter really accentuates any lack of stabilization. The audio was pretty good though for a built-in mic. It did well to compete with other sounds in the environment, and although it was a little thin, I think it did its job well enough for a simple vlog. Clarity was good, and the windscreen did its job well. You could argue that in well-lit situations, the ZV-1 produces a more watchable image because of the better stabilization and rolling shutter performance, and the E10 wouldn't really pull ahead until you factor in low light, but the ZV-1 does have that more limited field of view. So I suppose the main reason for choosing the ZV-E10 would be that it has a higher ceiling for quality. You can use better lenses, get more reach, shallower depth of field, etc. And compared to the other A6000 series cameras, if you don't need a viewfinder, this is a no-brainer. It's cheaper for the same quality, or better. The only one that beats it is the A6600 with more function buttons and a bigger battery, but it's hundreds of dollars more, and that added value of the bigger battery doesn't make as much sense as it did when these newer options didn't exist. Compared to the ZV-1, it's an interesting dilemma. If you only plan to use the camera in well-lit scenarios with everything on auto or standard, you're probably better off sticking with the ZV-1. But if you want an upgrade path or a bit more versatility and don't have the budget for full frame, the ZV-E10 is probably the best bang for the buck option that Sony currently offers, as long as you don't need a viewfinder. I just wish it didn't suffer from that terrible rolling shutter. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you found this video entertaining, or at least helpful, and if you did, make sure that...
Okay. That's very interesting. First of all, I just want to address this one comment in my chat. Watching a video for a camera he doesn't own. I do own this camera. Just specific parts of it. It's using the same exact sensor as the camera I'm using right now. I am using the Sony A6000. And the Sony, what's it called? ZV-E10, which is the one that Zooty just purchased, is the exact same sensor as the one that I'm using right now. The only difference is the body, like the actual like case and buttons and stuff that it comes with, and the software that you can do with it. That is the only difference. That's the only difference, right? So, yes. The reason why I was so curious is because I have the ZV-E1. This is the Sony ZV-E10. It is a difference of literally a 0. That is it. Sony ZV-E10 is this, all right? This is the Sony ZV-E1, okay? If I had to pick a dream camera I want someday, it would be the Sony A7 II. It's god tier. What lens is on your face cam? Okay, so the camera setup that I have right now is a Sony A6000 with a 11mm crop APS-C lens on an Elgato prompter. That's it. That is the full setup. Okay. It is set to 1080p 60. It's 1080i. It's interlaced. It's not progressive scan. 1080i at 1/60 as the shutter speed, because I like the added motion blur. I think it looks too choppy without the motion blur. So yeah, I got this camera used. I specifically wanted it because it was like only $200 or $300 or some shit on the used market. I really like the old kit lens, but I wanted to try out the 11mm for my own vlogging setup for here. Ended up not liking it, so I threw it on that instead. So yeah, I don't know much about cameras, but I always like the whole wide hand cam shots where you can see basically the entire desk from above. Yeah, I still have that. However, I used to have this lens, this exact zoom lens, on this lens right here. Except, basically, I would need this camera to be farther away from me to get this field of view. But because I have an Elgato prompter on it, there's no way I can twist the lens in order to adjust its field of view anyway. So there's no point, right? So I might as well use like a prime lens on it. A prime lens is a lens that doesn't change, right? But yeah. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on this camera, or specifically trying to find the most optimal vlog setup, because I believe a lot in IRL content and I see it more as an investment. And I feel like my what's it called, that one video where I went to the UCI LAN event is like a sort of testament of that, because I think that video with the sponsor basically like allowed me to basically go even on all the stuff that I purchase. So any content that I shoot from here on out using this camera or these two cameras is basically like profit at this point. So I saw these as like investments, right? So I wanted the absolute best. What I didn't realize is that convenience is a huge part when it comes to the best equipment, because there's no point in getting the best quality equipment if you're not actually going to use it. And I found that in real life, when you're actually out recording and shit, it is so difficult to bust out a big camera, point it at someone's face, and allow organic things to happen. It is so difficult. It is so fucking difficult. It is terrible, man. It looked good, but you can shoot like anything in 8K. You can shoot a literal rock in 8K, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a fucking rock, you know? So you want a medium that allows you to capture organic content without bogging you down. That's the most difficult thing, right? Which I feel like the most organic way you can do it is with your phone. Jake still vlogs with his phone. In fact, that's the reason why like I think it's called. Yeah, he still vlogs with his phone. That's it, right? And his content is great. I mean, no one really gives a shit about the fact that the camera is shaky, that the resolution is low, that there's artifacting on his face, that all this other nitpicky shit. No one actually gives a shit because the content is good. For people who do care about it, about wanting to provide a better, a better experience for their viewers, that's the stuff that they look towards, which is why I landed on this camera setup. This allows me the most amount of flexibility in the smallest body, and it's great. So it's the Sony ZV-E10, which is a full frame sensor. The smallest body for a full frame sensor is a 16-35 f4 power zoom lens, which is one of their newer lenses. But I chose this one specifically because the lens doesn't protrude or retract. I have the different all of the Sony's other 16-35 lenses. In order to its default position is at 35, and that's when it's shrunken down. You have to extend it out to 16. I got this lens because the lens does not extend out or retract, because that's another step that prevents me from getting the shot, right? I can just turn this on, it's at 16 millimeters, and I can just record, right? Very organic. I don't have to turn it on, adjust the lens, and then record, because that one extra step could be the difference, That's specifically why I got this lens. This microphone, I originally didn't even have this microphone. I only got it recently because it does bring a lot of stuff that is very epic. So this is the Sony, what is this called? ECM B10, I think? I could be wrong. Let me see if there's a fucking model number on this. Sony ECM-M1. That's what it's called. Is a small shotgun microphone that takes advantage of, like, I think it's called the multi-interface shoe, the Sony multi-interface shoe. Basically, it allows me to attach a different microphone to upgrade the quality of the microphone on this camera without using a cable. And that's the biggest thing, because if I want to upgrade the audio quality of this setup, I don't want to have to bust out a camera, bring it out my backpack, screw it in, plug in a cable, plug that in, and then press record, which is what this is. Because you best believe that this thing is not fitting in my backpack like this. But this, it's small enough for me to carry around with it on, and if it doesn't fit in my backpack, or if I need to stow it away, I can twist it off in like 2 motions. And even using it without the microphone, the audio is still good. So it is just one less thing that I have to worry about, which is great. Fucking great. So yeah. And then there's the tripod aspect of it. I specifically didn't want to bring around a tripod. That's why I added these extra mounts right here. There's one mount here, and then I have the base plate right here. And that allows it to literally sit flush, which is fucking great. It just sits flush on the table. Otherwise it would be like rocky, like this, right? And then I already showed it before, but like I usually wear a ring when I go out, so I can just take this off, put it on the hook, and then immediately get like an upwards angle. So I can set it on like a flat surface, and then boom, I have something, right? It's great. So I don't need a tripod. And then in software, this thing is effectively a gimbal because it does have that dynamic active stabilization, which yes, it does crop in, but because the lens is so wide, a small crop doesn't even do anything. So it's effectively a gimbal in itself. So I get extremely smooth footage that's not going to be jarring or disorienting if I'm walking around. This is everything that I could possibly need in such a small form factor that it makes it incredible to use. It is the best setup. I continue to watch videos every single day to try to figure out anything better. And the only thing that I've considered coming close is the Fujifilm X100 and that's back ordered to a billion years. So yeah, thank you for letting me nerd out about cameras. I'm a sucker for cameras, dude. Cameras are such a money hole, man. The thing is, you need to have your cameras work for you, man. If you're not bringing in income, or if your cameras aren't directly like bringing in money, it's a problem, right? None of these cameras will ever sit here doing nothing. I have tons of footage that I'll be able to use in future videos, and those videos are assets that make money, which is great. So I'm very fortunate to not only be passionate about the technology, but also be able to leverage that technology to get a return. And I find it exciting that that Xooty is getting into it as well. Xooty already has a passion for it, as she mentioned, with photography. So I'm really excited to have her dive into this, all the new developments that have happened since then. So yeah. I nerd about a lot of things. I never got into cameras. I don't have a use for them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Lenses are expensive. Half the tech of the camera is in the lens anyway. That's true. That is very true. Some lenses are more expensive than the bodies themselves. You get an expensive ass body, like $3,500, but there are lenses that go up to like $12,000, $15,000. It's insane. Also, the Q still hasn't popped. Are you playing Shernova in China? I am not in China, but I'm playing on the China servers. However, I haven't gotten game in like 4 hours, so. But yes. I think for Zooty's use case, the camera that she got is really good. That's it. All right. I don't think she got scammed or got a mistake or anything. The camera's good. All right. It's a form factor that allows her to actually use it. And it'll allow her to get into the routine of like, you know, recording shit and like importing it and editing it and stuff, right? So I think that stuff is all good. However, I'm more interested in her journey from here on out, because this is where you can start like doing some optimizations. Like, okay, from the get-go, she has the kit lens, right? It's effectively a 24 to 70 lens, kit lens, which is okay. Right? But when you start purchasing glass lenses, ideally you want to go end game, right? Get the best equipment, because that equipment will last you a lifetime. And also they hold up their value for an extremely long time. If you needed to get rid of them, there likely will be someone who will be able to buy it and you'll only need to give like a 20% discount or some shit. So it's great. You can see it in the aftermarket right now. That's why I purchase shit from the aftermarket a lot. Camera bodies lose so much value though. They do when updates do come out. However, that's also why I also encourage people to go into the used market. An A7 III is still phenomenal. An A7S II, just like Flameboy mentioned, that was the go-to like camera for creators before the A7 III came out, or the A7S III came out. When the A7S III came out, holy fuck, dude, that changed the game. It really did, dude. Every single YouTuber that you watch is likely using an A7S III. Either that or a Canon EOS. Fuck, I forgot. I'm not too familiar with the Canon. I know they just recently released like an R5. Oh! Alright, never mind. Fuck cameras. It's time to game.